shining on those memories, and yes, across all time I see you turning the tides. And do you see now our time, our turn, we can still fight like the wind and fire, and wonder no more that now is the only time your heart is mine. Light has fallen, darkness grows, and yes, we fight for our destiny and fate. New days smiling for the past and future. Break those chains, lead the way, fight with me. And when you wake up, avenge your rise, raising up your fists and smashing through time walls. Before the rift splinters again, we are rivals till the end. Rise up, open your mind, hold on to your powers, no one can stop us. We are rivals again until the end of time.
Not a red Venom map.
Welcome back, everyone. I told you there might be some information after the break, but this is an announcement of an announcement. It happens all the time in esports. July 7th is the next Dev Vision, and that's where you'll find out more information about the mid-season finals. So make sure you tune in to figure out exactly the location, when it's going to be. All of the details will be in that Dev Vision itself. So definitely recommend it, checking it out. Also find out the new hero, everything else. It's going to be great. New balance patch too for these teams to participate on for the Provo relegation tournament that'll be coming up. So it's going to be a great time. More info of that also got released on the Rivals Esports Twitter. Definitely recommend it, following that along with the action, and maybe myself too. I do post a lot. Either way, shameless self-plug. We do have our grand final here between Na'Vi and Virtus Pro, where they will be facing off to see who's going to be the top dog at the end of the road. Na'Vi have been 19-1 in maps throughout the group stage into the grand final here as well from the playoffs, and they seem unbeatable leg day.
Yeah, by possibly anybody. Na'Vi look like the perfect machine right now. We had a couple of questions during preseason, before they won it all, and during groups when maybe a map was dropped or two. Like, how does this team go higher than heights? How do they summit higher than the pinnacle? And recruiting Shu as their coach appears to have done the trick. Now that they have all of their leadership worked out, someone's there to take the mea culpa if a strat goes wrong, and all they have to do is just do what Trust Me tells them in the game. Na'Vi seem to be the perfect team.
That's the thing. How do you beat perfection? Terra is not just the best Cyclops, is now the best duelist in the world. He's on average dropping 20 final blows a game, and not just against little Timmy, against like Virtus Pro, against Rad. And they didn't encounter Heretics, but this is going to be their competition. Virtus Pro with a nice warm-up against Rad just now, a nerfed Rad at that. But I think my eyes are going to be on Sparker. If he gets all the damage boosts, if they are still able to protect all the, like the Ultron or the mainly the Mantis, having the Rocket Raccoon part of that, Sparker will be unleashed.
I'm more curious to see if the Gambit is going to be banned or the Mantis, right? We've seen teams shifting their prioritization from the Mantis first ban. We saw, I think the stat was like 100 times so far going into this playoffs in comparison to where it was a bit of a different story for, we saw Devil Dinosaur have a lot of prioritization in terms of meta before, but now it's been a completely different ball game after the adjustments of the 8.5 patch. And I think Virtus Pro, after, fresh nights of sleep, they could sleep it a little bit longer too before their match as well and get prepared for this grand final. A decent warm-up where they can play their strats close to their chest and get prepared for this one as well. And this being a rematch of that Atlanta DreamHack Grand Finals that we saw in 2025, where Virtus Pro came out on top. But the biggest difference here is Terra from Na'Vi might be that Weapon X for this roster.
We're just stealing Crazy Kitty's tweets now, are we?
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, Terra
Wow.
might be the secret weapon. Well, I don't think Terra actually has that much secrecy to them right now. Everyone
Yeah.
knew before he got here that Terra was kind of goated, and since being surrounded by an even greater caliber of players than he previously was, Terra has shown that he has the capacity to be the best player in the world.
And I think it comes down to those flex duelists as well, because I think we're all pretty confident in Sparker or Terra, how that's going to go. Cyclops, oh, Terra looks so sad. Maybe he's just resting, but
The best player in the world.
best player. He also never smiles when he pops off, by the way. He's just stone cold. But yeah, flex duelists, you have 5 versus Jerky. I think Jerky has had a huge step up in terms of this playoffs. Like, he was always good, but it was always the Terra show, and now Jerky can be on the Daredevil, the Star-Lord, the Psylocke, and Fi has been picking up more of the Wolverine and the Daredevil, so we'll see what duelists will get through, or are we targeting more Vanguards these days?
We just got Jerky like in the darkness there, trying to
He's
figure out
brooding.
exactly which role he's going to be playing for this team. It's going to be a triple strategist like we talk about. Are they going to be more on the Wolverine or something a bit more flexible as well? But Bernard T'Challa coming out for this first map. A lot of flexibility, but we could see some Angela played here, or even bans that's been a bit more prioritized in the meta here due to the recent buffs, the Assassin's Charge cooldown reduction, and also the nerf of the Devil Dinosaur has made it a lot more viable as well. So we'll see what compositions these teams show up and showcase for our first map of the grand finals. Best of 7, everything on the line. Na'Vi versus Virtus.pro. Let's get into it.
For their first regional stage title, Na'Vi are chomping at the bit and are hungry as they come. VP have already had to expend some energy here, Lemon, from their reserves for that 3-0 against Rad. So we have to check their stamina as we head into our best of 7.
And this is still a random first map, but it's still the advantage for Na'Vi because they knew what this first map was going to be, while as, you know, Virtus.pro gotta take it one match at a time. So Na'Vi, I'm sure, have really been cooking for this Bernard T'Challa, which they haven't played in playoffs yet, while as VP have visited this a couple of times. So like you guys said, the Angela has been so key for Nevix, or the Venom, depending on what sub-map we go to. The Daredevil's protected here for Fi, so you kind of know what's on the menu, as Na'Vi will get rid of the Gambit and protect the Mantis.
Nodding along with the bans, but Spark is far from a yes man, puts up a lot of roadblocks to their opponents, and it seems like Na'Vi, they're focused on squeezing this strategist pool. It's going to allow VP to maybe go for a protect on a Rocket Raccoon here to give himself still a good backline option. Indeed, that is going to be the case, but Na'Vi are going to be easily able to match that if they so desire.
Only so many damage boosts for Sparker this time, but I'm really scared about this Mantis. We've seen how much of a difference that's made, and even having such good CC to deal with any upcoming dive. But will there be adjustments to that backline if you're facing an Angela versus a Venom, which now Na'Vi are going to ban the Venom. VP thinking the same thing, so it could be an Angela duel.
Okay, so critically here, VP are still going to have their cap. We've seen a lot of targeting towards Vincire's Captain America to try and slow down their dives, especially on domination. But we saw the prioritization towards that Venom because they don't want to deal with a damage-boosted Feast of the Abyss, knowing that that could be easily damage-boosted with the prevalence of the Mantis. One thing we do have to be concerned about here for Virtus.pro, though, is that Na'Vi are going to have the double damage boost with the Ultron up as well.
And VP not having Mantis or Gambit's a little worrying. Like, those are two strong picks out of their pool. But hey, the Rocket keeps the train rolling, if you will, with that BRB. Such a huge part of momentum when it's matched from both sides. You wonder who could be the one that could explore the map. It's more of a Star-Lord, trickier for an Angela to do that, but on Warrior Falls, that's going to be the worst sub-map for our little angels. So VP versus Na'Vi, map 1, Na'Vi prepared for this one. VP warmed up or tired, question mark.
All mysteries will be solved here and now. Over the course of 7 grueling maps, Na'Vi can etch their name in the history of EMEA stage finals, or VP can once again prove the doubters wrong and show just what makes a world champion.
Vincere was such a good disruptor in that last matchup as well, but going up against Rajaro, an ever so flexible Vanguard for Na'Vi. This is such a well-rounded roster. Na'Vi just looking like a team you can't really ban against. Trust me, begins his duel against the opposition.
Level 1 Crook taken down first by Saipe, keeping our eyes on Trust Me right now. Mods, bring up the bundle ad right now. Trust Me, looking to try and debuff Sparker, but guess who ain't missing? So if someone ain't taking extra damage, Terra taken down here by Sparker, and VP coming in a little bit warmer this time, perhaps. But Vincere, a touch overextended inside the bubble, hard to receive those heals, and Trust Me moves through to take out the additional Vanguard as well. Extra XP on the backline as Rajro continues hunting down the strategist, and still VP are looking for that first cap.
And I know Saipe is not on Gambit, that's banned, but still finding so much value. The pull onto level 1 Crook. That's the first elimination onto Na'Vi. You cut those heals down so much. A lot trickier, too, to get headshots as a Mantis, you know, when they're not facing a double dinosaur. So we'll see kind of what resource balance Fate can do.
Dude, Saipe's actually been a monster thus far on the Invisible Woman. It's like, yo, did you forget that I'm me? And Na'Vi, they're just going to have to poke away here for a little bit, try and build up towards more of a strategist ult.
To get these first picks, I mean, that's how VP just bought themselves so many free fights, and another huge pull from Saipe.
Yeah, bro's done being embarrassed. Everybody gets one. I gave you the easy one, but now it's real Saipe.
Hey, and this is deja vu from, I mean, VP looking good at the beginning of domination. And of course, the other team can easily come back. Na'Vi just need to get their groove going, and maybe some ults as well. Crook is so far behind due to those picks. Dredro's Saipe, it's going to be the damage boost first with the Ruby Rage.
Oh, and the Cosmic Yard Amplifier. 3, 2, 1, and detonate. Sparker's back. But for Na'Vi, that was a zero resource push. They took the economy here. Now they're going to be able to be loaded for bear for the next one.
And Na'Vi are just so allergic to going down this main tunnel because they just don't want to get poked down from Sparker, but then they're getting pulled by Saipe to the low ground. And Na'Vi are having a hard time attacking into this. This is so defender-sided, allowing VP to be proactive with their ults. But now the ball is in Na'Vi's court, but this could easily go to 99% for VP.
Okay, Nevix trying to strike first. Out comes the big ult from Terra. Takes down Saipe. Actually got rid of the invisible boundary as well. That's a huge amount of resource that VP's not going to have available. Say goodbye to all of the healing. And Na'Vi, you know what? When you pop 3 Qs at once with perfect timing, it tends to work out in your favor. Fate gets a double to finish it on off. And 98% is all VP manage.
That's so unlucky. That must have been like mid-ult summoning from Saipe, because you have a double jump. I mean, you don't even need a mobility cooldown to get away from a Ruby Rage, so completely caught by surprise. And Na'Vi, though, big investment just to get this started. They have a Soul Resurgence, and you just know how suffocating it can be to face Na'Vi when they get going. So VP, though, going through a choke, this is scary.
Brand new Banhammer into the back, really wants this Rocket Raccoon, but Sparker's going to be a better target this time around, it would seem. Down to half, extra HP given over by the Freedom Charge. Finns making sure that everyone's nice and healthy here for the side of VP. And now, VP, they can make their own engagement happen here off the back of an engagement from Fi. Already the Battle Recall Beacon has been expended to bring Saipe back, and Fi moves in towards the back. Wants Terra so bad, trust me, his corpse just flies towards the teammate. A warning to anyone else who would dare to try and stand up against the Bears. Level 1 Crook knows that it's emergencies now. So with 4 players remaining, starts the fate of both worlds. This just gives VP some time to batten down the hatches, make sure everyone's healed on up. Could be a TP back from Na'Vi, but it's Spark who's moving first. An extra Banhammer given on over, and Fi's just making sure that no one can move in towards the point. VP in control, and no one's touching. All right, here we go.
Okay, warm-up round for Na'Vi, clearly. The fate of both worlds not reaching. Rajaro just never rose to the surface and was abandoned by the rest of his team. So, weird matchup for sure, and VP will now enter the next map where next sub-map where it's going to be a lot more open than Warrior Falls and not as defender-sided, I would say. You could see a lot more dive. This is where the Rajaro Angela is being considered. Nevix could go to that as well. But Finzi leaning on this Doctor Strange. We don't get to see VP go for early portal trap plays too often, but this could be where they have pulled out special surprises for Na'Vi.
A little bit of mugging. Move over to the White Fox is interesting here. Definitely trying to constrain Fi's influence. And this doesn't mean handing off the Mantis responsibilities to Jerky, who of course does have the aim to make this one work.
See the options, the Saipe pull, Fi Gonna rob them, and here's the interception, and oh, jerky down.
Bug down, bug squished. Big pull, nice play there from Vincere. Utilizing the team up from Invisible Woman, doesn't fully charge up the E, just tries to interrupt the Angela's roll forward. Fate's getting aggressive, Fate gets punished for such audacity. And while there is going to be this like poke call around the point, I'm afraid they're just going to be slowly executed as VP's going to get first cap again.
Okay, you're absolutely right with the Doctor Strange Invis team up, but even just the presence of Invis alone is going to deter Rajaro. How can he maybe find isolated people? Does he want to go after Fi if he's mid-dive? And Finzy's not on the cap, so Fi's brawl potential may be closer to playing around Nevix, but VP defend for now.
Double Ruby Rages, the crossover though. Not happy for Rajaro, the most ambitious crossover event in Burn is Charla so far, and Na'Vi, they aren't that committed to this fight. They can just back off at this moment, knowing that Rajaro will be back rather quickly.
Na'Vi are reset yet again. Trust me, can find some pathing to at least relieve pressure from this choke point. And Terra's also still needing to warm up mechanically. He only had 2 finals in that last sub-map. He needs space and time to operate.
All right, Vincere on the off angle, lays down the banhammer, extra damage, but guess what? They're already disengaging. Jerky knows that to move out from behind the Wakandan ship, you're going to have to need the extra speed and the health to make it work. Saipe looks for a pull, but thus far has only been faced with very, very hardy targets. Vincere into the midst of Na'Vi and the shutdown solid. Heaven's Retribution towards the back. Rajaro dives on in, and he's found himself a furry little snack to chew upon. And Terra looking like a bit of a snack himself, grabbing 3 on the other side. VP are wiped from the point.
I'm thinking Vincere on this Doctor Strange is getting feasted upon. Like, he just gives up, like, the 94% ult charge that he had for the Eye of Agamotto, because what are you going to do? You're probably going to get slept, double charmed, and then the Vanguards are going to be nowhere to be found. So I totally agree that Vincere should have abandoned the Doctor Strange, because it's such a bad matchup against the Angela. So Na'Vi being able to defend is huge. You have the Kumiho form. How will that brawl against VP, though? Na'Vi don't have, like, a Daredevil comp at the moment, so they'll just try to benefit from the healing at least.
Terra loads it up with spores and inspiration. Spark has already been taken down. Great target prioritization from Rajaro. While Sparker will be resurrected already, the damage has been done to VP's front line. Nevic's not going to be around for this one, and so Na'Vi disappear into the night.
Yeah, if Na'Vi can take advantage of the perimeter, they could surround VP and tackle them before they even get to the objective. And you have the Daredevil scouting info advantage from Fi, allowing Finzy to find the right path.
Ruby Rage, farewell to Nevix. Will they get resurrected is the question. Not before Fi's already been taken down, because Dreidra didn't fall in the last fight. Still had that on cooldown.
At least VP are getting a lot of fights out of this. Like 1 or 2 picks and they're back on their feet, I guess, if I had to cope. But Na'Vi are about to steal away the lead.
That was asleep. Oh, Fincy's found deep in the back here. But if you pay too much attention to it, you're going to give a lot of room over to Sparker. Rajaro knows they have to back on off to their back line for now. Fi could try and open this up with letting the devil out, and indeed towards the back, but he's already taken so much damage. The heals need to be delivered here and now. A quick kidnap away. He's so low, but finally Dreidra returns. Vincere has to pop their own ultimate here, and Fate's going to do the same. The big step of Fox has arrived to just try and ruin this back line's day. Sparker needs to find an opening. The Ruby Rage is good to go, and Fate's gone to a safer position to make sure they don't fall on down. The Cosmic Yarn Amplifier backs Na'Vi off for a moment, but they're still in control of a point. There's some excellent contest happening from Trust Me, wrapping around. It's fancy footwork, and Terra falls low. The finish is finally there. Jerky next up on the docket. The tracking's good from Sparker, but they still haven't flipped. Trust Me, the last Bastion held on until 67.
And the backline from Na'Vi completely split. I mean, the Kumiho form was just to help Fate survive and teleports back in, I guess. But I feel like the damage has been done. VP were amazing at sectioning Na'Vi away from each other, who are all playing very dispersed Vanguard setups. But Terra needs to be protected. And now that you don't have an Invis, you don't have that shield the same way that Saipe is supporting Sparker.
Rajaro can't get anything off the Assassin's Charge, but Terra's moving quickly here, just running themselves forward, and has the extra movement speed as well from a Mantis. They want to make Sparker in the neutral, and he had no idea that it was coming. Nowhere close to Saipe's ultimate. The invisible boundary is at least given a moment for Sparker to be resurrected, but on the other side, Fi's gone too far, bit off too much. Sparker up on high means that Fincy's got room to work with. The Heaven's Retribution's going to make sure that there's no escape options for Dreidra, and Na'Vi are once again in control. VP fall apart, atomized by the considerable fires of Na'Vi as they burn too hot and too bright and take us to the Imperial... Oh, we're going to have a stellar spaceport for our last map.
Oh, that was so close, though. Na'Vi have redirected their attention to the most punishable person on the team of VP, which has been Phi. As soon as you detect that deflect from the Daredevil, Na'Vi pounce from all sides, whether it's Trust Me or Rajaro flying in, just Phi gets identified and shoved away from any support. Sparker also needs to play close to Saipe so he can get those shields and be protected, which Sparker is, I would say, winning the mirrors against Terra more often than not, but Terra's been able to retaliate in most cases, and that's why Na'Vi are forcing this final submap.
I mean, it's very different styles, you know. Sparker, I feel like you said, is winning the 1v1s, but Terra also has that, like, rough audacity within him to, like, use all of his cooldowns to roll up on a Sparker who's, like, hiding in cover, waiting for heals. And, like, Terra's like, nah, I take those, and just jets across the map to find a perfect pick.
Just the double charm plus the sedation from Jerky is really going to put fear into VP, and I guess Phi as well.
All right, Terra, for now, just playing down the main. Worried about Vincere approaching on the off angle, but Vincire's taking a lot of damage here. It's going to be difficult to deliver heals to them as well, because Trust Me is just knocking back all of VP, sectioning the map across, and this might allow Na'Vi to get the first cap here for free.
I don't think Phi was in LOS of the BRB, so VP couldn't even get back on their feet. And hey, how about that picking off Fate, and VP will get to step into this arena. Nevix gets the charge going.
Yeah, audacious from Nevix goes straight in with the banhammer, but it seems like for now Na'Vi have been able to diversify their healing options to make sure that those who do get hit will survive. VP have a little bit of presence on the point, but down on one of their plays. It's going to be difficult to try and maintain this one as Redrive with Cosmic Yarn Amplifier. There's the Ruby Rage. Easy fly away though for Rajaro, and the Cosmic Yarn Amplifier takes a moment to be broken down. Enough that Trust Me gets taken down in his own right. The Fate of Both Worlds won't last for too much longer, so Phi moves in towards the back, ready to let the Devil out, going into 4 players. There's going to be some backup from Fincy. A terrible twosome towards the back, but the Fox form of Fate will rebuff their assault. You can see that Crook just needs to hide away for a moment. VP get the cap, and now Jerky and Fate move forward. Extra movement speed for the Fox. Boy, is she moving right now. The Atlas has been open. Fate has lost the ultimate. They TP deeper into the back. The courage of this Fox is unbelievable, but in this case, it's not going to be rewarded. In fact, it's going to be dutifully punished because Devil Daddy is home.
And that was 3 strat ultimates from Na'Vi, by the way. Crook keeps them up through the damage amplified Ruby Rage, but the double up from Jerky and Fate easily countered by just one simple invisible boundary. VP will steal away the lead. But how can they make sure that Phi does not get picked off? That could be either the profit or the liability to VP's brawl.
Trust Me demands some attention for Ruby Rage, thus far fruitless. Terra not able to get too much off the back of that, but Fincy's just doing so much in the back right now. Phi falls on down, didn't get enough extra help, and Fincy needs to try and escape the midst of Na'Vi here after having got his man.
And this is kind of like the last series for VP. You sacrifice Phi so that Sparker can absorb his soul and energy, I guess, and try to put up 40k damage. Na'Vi are stuck at the choke, though.
Oh, the Ruby Rage lies in wait. Sparker crouching like a predator, a trapdoor spider perhaps, waiting for Na'Vi to move in on a singular angle that can be well punished. For force physics, nicely blocked there by Trust Me. What amazing reaction speed as Crook on the outside. They can't afford to allow this one to get flipped over for free. VP actually allow the objective to go away. It must have been taken back by Rajaro with that Heaven's Retribution, and the follow-up is solid as the axes of Icors sink into the flesh of the bears.
VP could not maintain the bodyguard at the choke point, maybe even overextended. Na'Vi's comms have been solid to mark Finzy on the flank, to see when Nevix is alone when Finzy disengages, to Terra's consistently picking off Phi as well, so VP have to be careful or Phi has to play his life a bit better.
Rajaro constantly threatening as Fincy moves towards the back. Cosmic Yarn Amplifier is here. Will Spark and make good use of it is the question. That's going to be the Ruby Rage, but mostly avoided by Na'Vi, who used 2 of their defensive ultimates to try and survive this one. A nice knockback onto Rajaro, nerfs the Assassin's Charge for a moment, and Trust Me can't stay in without his co-Vanguard trying to absorb some of that fire. But now VP, they're up against the wall. 1 fight win here for Na'Vi could be all they need. Phi contemplating which target do they go after. Nevix cannot afford to fall on down as far as to put down the bubble unicorn shield to survive all of this. this. Trust me now into the back. The Marauders have made their way in. Cypher should get raised on by the Battle Recall Beacon, but for now it's only healing from Dredro. Found again. The Invisible Boundary can't be released. All of the ults now from VP. It's now or never, but Jerky's going to answer all of them. For Soul Resurgence is more than enough, and Terra's got the aim to make it work. Yeah, you might have dreamed of VP emerging, but Vincie's going to have to open the portal to make this one work this time. Nevix falls down. Overtime starts to go as well, and Vincie can't get there in time. A shout of victory from Terra as a flash in the pan from VP is subsequently quenched.
Yeah, VP dimmed after 2 back-to-back rounds. The BRB also was taken out so that Saipe could never return. That invisible boundary, the win condition denied, and Na'Vi knew how to dismantle VP once and for all. But VP have our choice of maps, so how will they retaliate? We'll find out after this.
청우의 시간. I outnumber you. Your powers are mine!
Assemble! Sorry, soldier.
Map 1 on Krakoa, a lot more competitive than we saw in the upper final, but we do have to talk about the costumes that are available now. The Seaside Siren, Coastal Kumio, and Seaside Sentinel available in the store now. Definitely recommend seeing if you can get lucky and pop those balloons. I got mine in a decent amount this time. With the previous ones with the EMEA and Doctor Strange as a Vanguard main myself, I had to go all the way to the final ones. I don't know how lucky you guys were.
I was very unlucky.
I already spent enough on other skins, but I think the real lucky team has to be VP, who I don't know what happened to Rad, but they got lucky in that matchup, but their luck kind of ran out when it came to Na'Vi and not being able to close out the second round. And then the third, Na'Vi came back.
Good reverse sweep for sure. And I think, Jen, going back to you on this one, it felt like the backline swaps and kind of the synergy that we saw from them was the difference maker.
Yeah, Na'Vi protecting the Mantis was crucial. Now you have three different stuns. You play an anti-dive, allowing Terra to sit back and get damage boost, so much CC to propel away Nevix, Finzi, Phi. So Terra got to sit back. You know, slow start at the beginning when you had to attack into Warrior Falls, but once they got steady, Terra got going.
Terra looking really solid so far.
Yeah, Terra's just been an absolute demon thus far. But then again, like, most of the team is playing for Terra now. And you actually had some interesting content with Terra in the preseason Vaudeville, where he talked about why he wanted to come to EMEA.
Yeah, wanting to, you know, face off against Sparker a little bit more often, prove that he's the best in the world. And looking at the stat lines between these two, 32 KOs apiece. 2 more final hits from Sparker, but I think it was more of a team coordinated effort. If you look at the Vanguards in comparison, a little bit more lethality from them after the swaps came through here, Lemon.
Yeah, when Jerky had his Daredevil cut out of the picture, then he just played the triple strat. Maybe that was intended all along because they protected the Mantis just for him. And like I said, Na'Vi got to sit back and greet VP, whether it was punishing Phi pretty consistently, making sure that Nevix wasn't going to be comfortable on the Angela. I think that would be a horrible matchup to play Angela into, I don't know, a freeze, 2 charms, a sleep. Like, it was good counters for VP, but every time they did engage, Phi didn't have the same amount of support, not having an Angela, maybe Finzi consistently on the cap around. But hey, VP got a choice of map and they want to go to Central Park.
Ooh, okay. I mean, we all know what happened last time, right? That these two teams played this map, Central Park. Penny Parker had an appearance and it was chaotic, to say the least. I think Terra said that, yeah, that was just not good and it was messy, and that's all he had to say about it in the interview. But we'll figure out if Virtus Pro can play a little bit cleaner here against Na'Vi this time, close things down, full hold, and showcase that Penny Parker reigns supreme on Central Park. Let's get into it.
Yeah, if memory serves correctly, that was a 0-1 on Central Park, right? That last time they matched up,
Like
it was
2-1, like close enough, you know.
I think it was a full hold versus a full hold.
I don't know, but what was important though in that matchup, and even in the last one, is flake diff. Especially on a map like Central Park, you need to take off angles, and Luna enables that perfectly. So Na'Vi gonna make sure that it's not part of VP's plan.
All right, once again, making sure that Phi has access to that Daredevil. prioritizing it. I like that VP have started moving around their draft, and Na'Vi on the other side, once again, are going to threaten the triple. And for VP, what do they want to put behind this? Obviously, getting rid of the Loki, make sure that Vibrant Vitality can't provide extra damage boost. You know what? 4 damage boost for Terra might be too much, so we'll at least get rid of the Rejuvenation Runes. And there's the Lunar Snow now missing. This is going to really constrain the angles which the Vanguards or the off-anglers can play, because there'll be no Flake.
Kind of surprising that VP first protect the Daredevil and don't want to try and have a one-sided gambit. When you let Na'Vi get the Mantis, you want some kind of strong win condition when it comes to straddles, but maybe sustain and making sure your duelists are comfortable will be the name of the game. So Jerky versus Fi on the Daredevil, where you saw kind of how more well, humane Fi looked, but he didn't have a cap always behind him, didn't have an Angela, didn't have a full engage, while VP denied that kind of same engage from Navi's end.
Interesting, Na'Vi here, both of their protects kind of move towards jerky-centric heroes, be it the Mantis or the Daredevil, which means that Na'Vi are going to have pivots available now, but if they dive, it's going to have to be with a flakeless cap. The Rogue off the table as well. So this does mean that Na'Vi are going to allow the Gambit in the neutral, but not the Gambit-boosted Rogue.
Well, last but not least, it's nice to have Saipe back on the Gambit, and he's going to try and lead his team to victory and a very strong win con, or just even a win rates for VP off of that. We were comparing Saipe in his previous matchup against MASH, and VP, not really, I would say, a low-key team. It's been a lot of this double strat, really a 2-2-2 often for VP. We'll see if anything changes, though, as Na'Vi will be on defense first. The double damage boost, not having the rocket, even though it's available, so you don't have that BRB or even a third layer of damage boost for Terra.
Yeah, only 2. Everybody gets 2 damage boosts, or at least Terra gets 2 damage boosts, and that is going to make it difficult for Sparker to try and take a 1 versus 1. So there's going to be a lot of emphasis here on trying to force out that right click from Jerky, an appealing maneuver when Fi makes an engagement or when Fincy makes an engagement. There's a huge dive core here for VP, though. They're going to be moving very fast.
I wonder if Fi would even think about the Human Torch. That's been a super niche pick for him when it comes to defense. We'll explore that in the future. Amazing Angela map, though. There's so many crevices to hide, and to shove someone through the tunnel to deny LOS would be amazing for Rajaro, especially on the defense. You can be proactive, take the initiative, while VP want to sit there and poke and hopefully get Fi into position. No Flake, though. Very difficult to get around.
The Rajaro is actually just like doing the ambiance flights behind them to try and scare them. First, it's going to be just a little soft dive from Trust Me. Forces out the knockback from Sparker. And also, if you could just slow down VP in this and burn their time back, that's good enough for Na'Vi. They don't need to leave the safety of the castle.
Yeah, when you don't have that Luna, you're going to have 2 Raging Royal Flushes now with the Loki. Difficult to dive a Loki as well, and even Angela's just not going to have to target that at all. But even Rajaro has redirected his focus towards Fi when it came to domination, and VP have to be more careful of that.
Oh, this backline's taking a pounding here from damage boosted. Terra just starts to burn down Tridro's doppelgangers, and VP are having a lot of trouble making forward progress here. There's just this constant intercession coming through from Rajaro and Trust Me, so Terra can basically just sit untouched in main.
Regen domains use, important cooldown out of the picture. And also with all these doppelgangers, I mean, Terra can disperse his damage throughout almost the entirety of VP's backline if Tridro isn't careful with how he places them. For now, though, Na'Vi are looking ironclad, and you have the Ruby Rage almost available. This is like 20% ahead of Sparker, but you have an LOS advantage when you're on the defense, and now you don't have Saipe.
You see how Terra also wasn't even shooting the Venom who was in his LOS there? Like, they know that VP are currently playing to try and absorb some of this damage, build up an early like Gambit ultimate and move with it.
Now he shot him. What's the
once the Gambit's not up to build that ultimate, you can shoot the Venom.
And I mean, the Venom demands really good execution, right? When you need as soon as you pop the extra health, the cooldown is pretty significant if you decide to swing in instead of hang off the wall. But Terra's headshot accuracy is pretty high.
Charm actually goes awry there. Terra not momentarily controlled, and so a follow-up not quite what they wanted to. Terra's aim is actually disgusting. Now here comes the Raging Royal Flush. Jerky trying to answer 2 members of Na'Vi. 3 instantly decimated. Triple Strategist becomes triple Cadaver real bloody quick.
This has to be the shove for VP. 90 seconds, and they make it clean. Portal coming in for Jerky. Sparker, who wants to be within his team's grasp to support, and Rajar will try to anchor, but what a dive from Nevix!
Great isolation also level 1 Crook. You're taking part in the jump. That means easy tracking, trust me. Needs to bring everyone a little bit of additional health. That's what the Freedom Charge is for. Level 1 Crook is going to have an option to go back through the portal before it closes, I believe. And so we'll be able to emerge with a Strategist ultimate. Here's going to be the Soul Resurgence to open with. Face seems to ignore most of the incoming damage. Big grab here onto Sparker off the back of a Heaven's Retribution. It's a huge investment from Na'Vi as farewell to the one. Fine, Vincere think it's winnable. They just go into the back with a Freedom Charge and letting the devil out. Level 1 Crook is forced to answer. The invisible boundary going to be exactly what the Doctor ordered as they just bash down Fi at the moment. But Fate's been found on the other side. Somehow there's been a crack in the armor. Saipe noted on the other side. Rajro still on the chase. And guess what? VP are in this position where they're just continuing to cap the point. Rajro now has to try and keep this one going, but can't contest as their life is forfeit. And VP brawl it out to get the cap.
I can't believe that. Like, you had Dredro and Saipe constantly staggered from each other. Saipe popped first. Dredro Kumiho forms. Saipe comes back, tackled off the map. And see the panic and decision. You should not be playing that right side against an Angela who, like Rajaro taught us all, there is a way to get shoved off the cliff. So VP, thankfully off of a last-second call from Fi, make it winnable. And Sparker builds momentum with the Ruby Rage.
Ruby Rage, good to try and soften up everybody. Only a single strategist will remain, and that's Fate on the White Fox, but cannot stand up against all of the punch dimension going their way. And VP, they found some momentum now.
And Fate goes to the White Fox as well. You don't have the Tima because the Luna is banned, but Crook wants to try and propel any dives from going their way. And the invisible boundary is always strong, and so is Dredro on the Kumio form.
Oh, look at that knockup that came through from Nevix as well to stop the escape from the White Fox being too easy. Fire managed to find exactly what they wanted. Just big body box coming through from Julia. It's actually a perfect Kumiho unleashed, and it's given over so much space onto the cart as well. Na'Vi now have to make a desperate push forward to try and contest this one. Fate's falling low. Really needs that Kumiho to be unleashed, but can't save Crook, can't save Jerky, maybe can't even save Na'Vi here, as the damage has already been done. Terra's moved off from the Cyclops over to the Elsa because they know that they're just in this perma-dived position.
And they're permanently pushing the cart as well. And even through the anchoring of an Angela, VP maintain their stranglehold, but need to be careful with how far they overextend. They learned that the hard way on Burn and T'Challa. VP, they know how to make those adjustments on the fly, so Na'Vi will not be able to pick off Finzi in that case. And it gives Crucial ult charge over if you want to cope, but Finzi's now in trouble.
Ready to let the devil out. You've got extra health to work with here as well, but Spark is not going to be a part of it. Finzi stunned and into the pit. The Freedom Charge can't sustain through the immortal power of gravity, and one of the fundamental forces on the side of Na'Vi.
At least you stopped the avalanche that was starting to be created for VP, despite how long it took to get the point. You started just non-stop winning in Dracula's castle. I don't know how Na'Vi were gonna do, but the fortress still has to be entered, and VP, they got forced to fight because Finzi was forward, made the most out of it. But Fi, the range nerfs on Daredevil will affect Fi's viability, but he lets the devil out.
Rajro wants to try and stick him in. Into the pit would be everything, but for now, Fi just trying to avoid all of that damage. Heaven's Retribution. Who does it grab in? I think at the moment it's just the Venom who's been grabbed into this one, but managing to get away. It's going to be a chase down here from Terra, and going down that stairs, the Apex Predator is going to be dangerous.
Yeah, the Elsa, massive to blow up with Venom. It's just the ultimate counter right now, and I guess Fi is the counter to Strategist.
I mean, Fi's just been an absolute monster. No wonder they're first protecting this Daredevil. That's such a huge part of VP's identity ever since the grand finals. Ruby Rage doesn't grab enough. Terra tries to counter the incoming danger via the Apex Predator, but unfortunately it's all air balls for the Glassrocks. Dreja around the other side. The Monster Piercer should do its work, even in the Fox form. The self-sustain, not quite there, but Sparker making sure that sustain's not even an option for Na'Vi. Finding his man again and again, and there's still Saipe in the back. Trust me, leads the charge. Freedom is going to reign, and it pushes back all of VP.
Sparker cannot get staggered here. I mean, every second matters because you still need to regroup, but trust me, harassing them as much as possible. VP are being isolated at times, even denying Dreja from teleporting back to his team. And this is such a strong lane for Terra to command, where there's the Apex Predator. You could say the same about the Ruby Rage. It really requires a damage boost at some point, which Na'Vi seem to have a lot of.
It's gone airborne. Trying to shut down the Venom here. Jerky just gets eaten. Perfect tech coming through from the Venom. Fincy's fallen down on the other side. And that's going to make space control a little bit harder for VP. And it's going to be even harder if they lose out on Nevix. Nice swing away. Manages to avoid the stab-in from Rajaro. Trust me, gone on the other side. And now Spark is going to be a lot more difficult to control. Na'Vi give up a little bit of space here to look to recontest.
Final push will come in overtime, and VP needs someone to anchor, most likely Finzi, or probably this back line as they shove Na'Vi towards their own spawn. Rajar will have to be the one that touches, along with Trust Me and Terra.
Draco stepping through. Trust Me, ready to use the Sentinel Strike, trying to block the disengage of Fincy here, but Terra's already down. It seems that the DPS battle of the world has once again come to the fore. Jerky moves forth with the extra healing, the extra speed, the extra vigor, but it's not enough for Na'Vi. Terra needs to return with the Glassrocks in his hands, but Fi's ready to let the devil out. He's unleashed it onto the cart, and Ratatoska finds quite the population of bears currently climbing upon their back. Fi gets momentarily grabbed, but you can't hold back the bears. Na'Vi find themselves full captive on Central Park.
So insane, considering VP looked like they were seconds away from being full held, but they stopped the retaliation of Na'Vi when they portaled in, and for VP to maintain their aggression, to keep Sparker on nice angles to watch above, seemed to be very preemptive on what the Na'Vi setup was going to be. Then VP rolled all the way into Dracula's castle. Bit of pushback when it came to that third point, but VP, how they support each other in these kind of on-the-fly calls have been amazing, even through the Na'Vi changes, which I wasn't expecting to see Terra off the Cyclops unless it was banned, but he needed something that could deal with these problematic Vanguards from VP, because if they make enough space, you saw the impact that someone like Fi can have. I mean, let the devil out. He went from being more quiet on Burning T'Challa to being the MVP now of this map for VP.
Get ready.
Really showing why that first protect on Daredevil is worthwhile, and I've been very enthused by the ban lines of both of these teams. We really have seen the advancement of the ban techs over the course of this 8.5 meta, from essentially just like autopiloting bans to the first four, where VP are now like, you know what, this is our identity. We're gonna play Thigh on the Daredevil. It won us a world championship. It can win us EMEA yet again.
Only capping this map is so difficult to do. VP have a real chance of tying up this series in this best of 7. Terra's just going to roll out on the Elsa, expecting this Nevix dive. Nevix cannot be punished in this case. There's also a sleep or a pull from Crook. As soon as you see that swing, Nevix has to be careful with how he engages.
Dude, Terra's just getting assaulted here, but the Ultron drone might be enough to try and sustain them. You can't go around that corner if you are a Vanguard from VP, knowing it'll cut you off from the remainder of your team. The problem is here for VP, how are they going to get Saipe enough ult charge when they have to dive in so deep to actually take that damage? It's not the ideal pairing for a dive core. Trust me, going to open up here with a bad hammer, putting it on top of Sparker to try and shut that one down. And while Sparker's getting all the babysitting thanks to the ultimate, it means that Nevix is going to fall through the cracks. Might have to swap over now onto the Strange for a portal back.
And Terra went in so deep to try and eliminate Dreja. You thought that was going to be the first victim. The backline of Na'Vi keeps him up, and Terra delivers those critical picks, and you're seeing the picture of a portal from Nevix coming in.
Desperate return from the portal. Still no real ults available here for VP. It's going to have to be of a neutral raw skill alone, but when it comes to skill, Vernon, who outdo Trust Me, Fi taken down by Vibranium Energy Sword from Raj, but Jerky straight out on the other side, and a disengagement on the cards. Redro may well be gunned down here by the Daughters. The Eagles. Cypher's managed to earn himself the Gambit ultimate. The Raging Royal Flush fills the bears with rage, and they bare their teeth and they roar.
And to stop Na'Vi from fully capping, the portal will be not available for VP for quite some time. Nevic's going to stick around so he can build that Eye of Agamotto. And I wonder if he would even stay off of the Venom, because Terra's been kind of cooking him. But VP have been able to pick off Jerky at times as a vulnerable strat, and now you're vulnerable to the clutches of the Apex Predator.
That was an unbelievable quick draw there from Terra. Bro's a gunslinger if ever I've seen one, and the flicks are absolutely schnasty. Farewell to Nevix, no HP to work with. Vincey's going to be next up on the docket, but all he can do is trade vitality for time on the board. And Na'Vi have 4.5 minutes now for second.
Now, I'm kind of surprised Nevix wouldn't have wanted to come back on the Angela, which I think maybe a bit more a sturdier shield to go up against the Elsa, but I don't think any Vanguards are going to have fun against her Terror. So Na'Vi will step forth to see what they can create from this moment when you have the Rage of Ultron. You have a lot available for Na'Vi as they set VP back and they set their sights on the back line.
Banhammer here could be huge, but you know what? Redro wants some. Going in directly onto, trust me, the invisible boundary is rather far back here, but it seems like Fire and Nevix may well have been caught within it. Level 1 Crook just with a little bit of counter dive.
Tridro Kumio form will be the only sustain that VP have as an option, while Soul Resurgence could be a type of aggression, the Kickstarter, the pedal to the metal for Na'Vi to deny any space from VP.
Vincey wants to buy the space, and he's going to do it with a Freedom Charge, but Jerky's going to answer. Out comes the Rage of Ultron. It's a huge triple sustain ultimate here from Na'Vi. They'll do anything to try and sustain this one, but now they've got to try and deal with Sparker with the Ruby Rage, and they're running low on options to deal with it. As all of her extra health starts to move away, Nevix is going to chase into a small area and take down Fate. Vincey traded out on the other side. Terra looking hot to trot as usual, but with an extra charm and a quick turn around. Na'Vi now have to try and move forward, and indeed, they have all of the skill that's necessary to do it, while Sparker may well have been able to feed out on the other side, and Nevix keeps this point contested to try and deny some of it. Fi seems to be taking a little bit of a dive versus dive, as we do see the Glartrox ready to go, and Terra just able to stay up.
And through all the investments from Na'Vi, I mean, starting with the double strat ultimate from the Ultron and the Mantis, VP's Vanguard line just stayed on the payload so that Na'Vi could not progress at all. It took almost everything out of Na'Vi to remove them. Here's the last hurrah potentially from VP to hold second.
Is the Raging Royal Flush, and Sparker's taken down, almost peeled for himself with the Ruby Rage, but Fate's caught in a corner, and Fi just keeps on beating down and beating down. The Living Bullet claims Saipe. Terra still trying to be the carry here as Rajray moves deeper into the backline, beating away with a Sentinel Strike. It might be America's birthday, but right now there's room for Na'Vi to keep celebrating as Shrijo's fallen down at the hands of Terra once again. You look to the carry, you look to the hero, and Terra continues to answer. A debuff from the portal means VP have the reinforcements that they need to try and keep this fight going, but Crook is closing in here on an ultimate, but they might not even need it as Terra's just finding it in the neutral fight towards the back. So much damage. Quick beat with the Monster Piercer, a Devil Slain with not a bullet needed, and Terra's going to be saving them for everyone else. Look to the sky and you will see yourself a firework, but Terra has blown asunder.
It took too long for VP to address the elephant gun in the room. Like, Terra got jumped by Nevix, who just went in again and again, and you didn't have Fi part of that until it was too late. Terra's playing so aggressive, so forward, and he almost just died to himself. So Na'Vi will get back on their feet, and they have a pretty big time bank to get to the end.
Thanks to our replay producers. Much appreciated to see that one again. Rajro, for now, in the present with the Freedom Charge, going to be bringing Jerky forward. Extra damage, extra healing. And Na'Vi, they are somewhat losing track of the cart right now, despite their large investment.
There's so many lanes for Na'Vi to try and push through, or mainly for Fi to explore, because the nerfs on the range from Daredevil are pretty significant, and Terra knows that exact amount. He knows how to stay back, and Fi is being marked on every angle he explores. And now, can you even leave spawn if you're VP? Na'Vi have everything almost in the book to try and answer against VP coming up.
Yet another damage boost. Glartrox ready to go. The Apex Predator. He's top of the food chain, and he wants to rule the EMEA, and in the jungle, the mighty jungle, Terra rules tonight. Trust me, gets a pair. Oh, captain, my captain, step it up with a 4 Trust me. Trust the process. Trust in everything, because Na'Vi have got this one down. It's going to be very difficult to keep it contested. Nevix is down. Dredro 2. It's a mad scramble for the touch. The Devil going to be let out. It's buffed up by the Gambit. Can Fi try and find the opening here? It's going to be so difficult against Fate, who uses the Soul Resurgence and manages to hit soul shot after soul shot. Even more to come as Sparker reduces the Ruby Rage, but level 1 Crook makes sure they're far from cinders. Na'Vi had every tool that they needed and every frag that they could possibly wish for Vanguard to atomize. So too is the defense. Na'Vi cap with additional time.
Now, this is that relentless offense from Na'Vi that we know and love, but VP, they do manage to break out of spawn eventually. How their Vanguards are able to split away, unfortunately to not protect anyone else, but to stall as much as they can, taking off an extra minute. And that extra minute can make all the difference. We almost never go to extra innings when it comes to Central Park. And VP, this is a map that they've forced the distance in the past, and Terra on the Elsa is a different beast, and the Apex beast being thrown in the midst of Na'Vi or VP really forced them macro-wise to just be in disarray. So Na'Vi, great job kind of making the most out of the time they had left. Also, the time banks determine who will be attacking first, so we'll see with only a minute what finish line VP can create.
Bro, like, can I get a healing received stat for Terra? Like, bro, like, the Secret Service is taking notes right now on how to protect the VIP, because Fate and Jerky are doing absolute bits, making Terra feel like a bloody monster. 25 final hits. Damn, bro.
It's just another day at the office for Terra. He's always dropping 20 final hits in almost every playoff match. It's Na'Vi been punching down this whole bracket, and you thought with that push, VP could be the first team in playoffs to take a map from Na'Vi, but the time bank advantage just by a minute goes to the defense as Nevix sets them up on a completely safe angle behind. Finzi will chase them. Nevix, does he return to the Venom? Yes, he does.
Okay, looking for a pinch here. Finzi's gonna have to start doing some shaping operations to force Na'Vi into an easily exploitable space. You've seen that Saipei's already used one of those anti-heal cards to try and soften up the back line, but speaking of softened up, Finzi just gets absolutely tenderized. Terra is... Terra gets assassinated by Sparker! That's a huge thing to be missing now! Na'Vi is trying to pull out all the stops here to turn this one around. Guess what? There's already been a health pack stolen away, so Sparker needs a little bit of additional healing to come on through. 13 seconds remain. Terra is almost back. Na'Vi now will be able to re-engage, but there could be a chase down on to Jerky. What can VP do to try and secure themselves a tick here? A quick mess up with the dash means that Sparker's going to be low on the utility, and Terra's there with the punish. No ticks to come through yet for VP, but Step 5 still stalking in the rafters, looking for an opening, looking for something that Finzi can tenderize over on the other side. Trust me, rolling in with the extra damage. Jerky's down. Fate is too. Finzi returns to the fray. A last chance saloon to try and exit this one as level 1 Crook exits the portal in his own right. The healing started to fade away. There's nothing left for VP. Overtime ticks on down. Spark is the last one to stay here. Nevix gets in just in the nick of time, but a 1 versus 6 is too much to ask for the old legend, and Na'Vi holds strong.
Yeah, a lapse in the VP strat line when they were pressing forward. A moment that they turned around to deal with a Na'Vi flank on the point and really to clear out the point so that VP could cap more. They left Sparker out to dry, and that really started to dim the hopes of a fight that could be enough. And VP's choices are all about speed, violence, momentum. You have Sparker on the side lock, Nevix on the Venom. It's about engaging as lightning fast as you can alongside Fi so that you create so many threats to try and break Navi's focus. And eventually, the immortal Terra does fall. I mean, there was even a moment that Fate actually slept Fi. Fi woke up and beat Fate to death. Like, there was some really good moments for VP, but unfortunately not able to maintain their grip on the situation.
44.5k damage. Man. Having two players who are like well, 3 players, I guess, who are just raw aimers, and Fate, Jerky, and Crook means you actually get so much value out of your backlines like DPS capacity as well. Crook, Fate, and Jerky all putting up huge damage numbers, and that's what's causing VP to have players slip through the cracks in so many of these fights, because you just can't keep up with it with 2 strategists sometimes.
There's only so many heals. It's 3 strats versus 2. Absolute perfection, but also synchronization is demanded of VP. As soon as you get staggered, Terra can shift his focus and can flick to a different target just as easily. As already Nevix is brought down to half, not having to pop that extra health is big, as Nevix is gonna go in.
Diving in on the backline, they decided we'll ignore Terra for now. We're just going to try and get rid of that damages. Dredro, oh, he dove too deep. And that's going to be a delving too deep that's been punished like the Balrog would punish the Dwarves of Moria. Trust me, moves in with the extra damage from the ultimate. But who can even move to contest? The portal can't be opened in time. And Na'Vi Masterclass are taking a first to go 2-0 up in the series.
VP had a fast comp, but they needed to choose those moments carefully. And if you don't commit to Terra, the final boss of Central Park, you will fall to that final boss, as Na'Vi will take 2 maps now in this best of 7 grand final. Virtus Pro, where do we go next? We'll find out after this.
the only map that Na'Vi has dropped so far in Stage 1 was on Central Park. So it was a good bet to be hedged against for Virtus.pro to send them there once again. But unfortunately, the strategies of the past did not work this go around, especially when we saw a battle of kind of old meta and new meta. We saw the Elsa and Vanguard Deadpool coming out from Na'Vi, and then Virtus.pro specifically, we saw more focus around the Cyclops, the DD, the Vanguards diving in from them as well. And the swap that came in towards the Elsa, the lock into focus on the Vanguards was massive. And of course, the MVP here, leg day, is going to be Terra.
I mean, the entire team's playing for Terra, so bro better get the MVP, and he is doing God's work with those resources. 55.8% accuracy, by the way, is a little bit disgusting, rancid, an affront to God, perhaps? We don't know. But also, they're playing like the double damage boost with the Ultron and the Mantis, having that consistent drone, having consistent healing, means that Terra can play really audaciously and be consistently rewarded for it, and has a good 1v1 capacity off the back of a Deadpool team-up that got given over by Trust Me.
Maybe the cope is that, hey, you got Terra to swap off Cyclops. You must have done something annoying, but then Terra blew up your whole team with the Elsa. I mean, VP, I think the choices that they went for, the Psylocke, the Venom, the Cap, this is all to have the speediest dive that you can, because I think the only way that you have an advantage in a fight against Na'Vi is if they're not ready for it. And you could throw everything you can at Na'Vi, but if you're not landing right in that Elsa's lap, in which, again, she can mobilize away from it, Terra took over 30 final hits in that moment. And despite VP choosing this map yet again, they tried to change their ban line, but the result stayed the same.
Yeah, I mean, kind of throwing this one back at you as well, Jen. The ban line seems to be, the biggest debate between these teams when it comes to the meta, right? We started off the weekend with everyone banning Mantis. We saw that in Pacific when they kicked things off earlier on last weekend, and now it's kind of evolved into, okay, this team's really good at Gambit. Maybe we shouldn't give it to them, but it feels like Mantis deserves some priority here.
Absolutely, you would think, because the double damage boost Terra, he looks immortal. And he is insane on the flicks. If you miss the dive, he will not miss you. And actually, VP did first ban the Mantis in their last encounter. On all 3 maps that VP lost, they had first banned the Mantis. Clearly that didn't work. Let's try to first ban the Gambit, and the results stay the same. Whether you have to deal with the unstoppable force of a Raging Royal Flush, or the unstoppable force of a Soul Resurgence, or a double damage boosted Terra, there's just no stopping Na'Vi at this point.
That seems to be the name of the game, is try to stop this train that has left the station at a hyper speed, and nobody's getting in the way of that one. You're just going to be splat on the pavement afterwards, and that's how the brackets have been going so far. 3-0 after 3-0 after 3-0, 21-1 in maps now with that victory, and continuing the streak going forward. They took the one loss personally in the group stages, and they don't want another since then until they get to the mid-season final. And of course, we'll be going to the fan favorite of Museum of Contemplation. Leg day, I need your thoughts.
I'm thinking that maybe we ban the Ultron here. Like, the Ultron's like got dual purpose. Not only does it provide good consistent healing to Terra on a carry pick, but also it's very hard of an assault for a Daredevil, especially with a newly nerfed range in 8.5. So I would like to see maybe the double damage boost get taken away, even if it means that something else gets through.
Feels like deja vu at this point compared to the last series. We're here once again on Museum of Contemplation. Will it be a full hold? We'll see as the ban draft goes through.
Okay, once again. Oh, BP going down the Mantis route this time. Yep, this is a eye roll from Raj. Right? Oh, fine. Back to the old one. I guess I'll have to kick you to the curb a new way.
I wonder what VP are going to play. Like, the Daredevil Protect is pretty massive for Phi, and clearly part of the suffocating dive that VP want to create. And I don't think Na'Vi have to make any kind of considerations towards the Vanguard, at least not banning the Venom. Worst case, thinking about the Cap. But on a map like Museum of Contemplation, you could see things like the Venom, the Groot, maybe even Finzi's Cap or EMEA, but making sure the Rogue is not part of the Gambit equation is a pretty important component of this ban.
Supper's got pretty similar energy to me last night as I was trying to get some sleep before we do this cast, and it's just firework after fireworks. Like, yeah. I wasn't planning on sleeping anyway. Na'Vi, one-sided Gambit. Honestly, VP, I don't think the Gambit's been great for them. Like, I appreciate that the Raging Royal Flush has been very powerful, but it feels like they've been having a lot of trouble actually building it because they're playing these faster Vanguards who don't stick around for Gambit to really heal them.
I'm surprised Na'Vi are protecting the Cyclops here because I think you have two strong secondaries, the Cyclops or the Elsa. But I'm thinking if you have to deal with a Groot or some kind of front to back, I think the Cyclops is better than the Elsa, who profits more from a longer range damage. As VP, the Daredevil Venom dive will be on the menu, making that I would think that the Elsa should make a return.
Maybe ban on cap here from Na'Vi. The Elsa, I think... The Elsa would be an interesting return. Maybe for Sparker. Lunar Snow. Okay, yeah, that's going to constrain the potential range of a Vincere roaming cap. But I think that Gambit is a little bit more prone to falling in a dive than maybe Na'Vi's classic triple strategist.
Yeah, and even that flake for Phi, who is... look like paper mache at times, but it really depends on the map, just how easy it is to path around with the Daredevil. But Phi has looked also much better having a team around him. He went from kind of first picked in fights on Burning T'Challa to now having a Venom with him, having Psylocke from Sparker with him. And as a unit, it still hasn't been enough pressure to stop Na'Vi, including even eliminate Terra more than once when it came to Central Park. We are revisiting the same two maps, but will the results stay the same? This was a map that Na'Vi also spawn camped VP on at some point. It was alarming to all of us.
Hello there, Kinetic Claws. Welcome back. Na'Vi showing off Jerky's very wide and very deep hero pool. And this is going to make Nevix's life a little bit less happy.
2, 1.
Terra will be able to stay away from this dive, but also you don't want to isolate yourself against a Venom. Vincere has to solo anchor, and his EMEA is just the most improved out of playoffs. He can really handle himself well as Phi gets some information around the map, see if he can shut down Crook early.
All right, Crook already a little bit brave. Actually just wants to go in for the fight, but Phi's just going to draw back their attention, which is important for giving the rest of VP some space. You can see the poke starting to come through now from the side of Sparker.
See that VP are taking more of their time with the dive, because that's, I think, what kind of lost in the map on Central Park is VP having a fast composition, but taking fights too fast. You have to find the right and quality opportunity, not just any of them. Sparker is really put some damage into Rajaro, so are Na'Vi just going to sit there and take it? They are trying to be ironclad around this corner, but Na'Vi aren't acting yet.
You got to shape your fights, develop your angles. Got to look towards the back line, though. Rajaro, and trust me, are getting a little bit frisky here, and are definitely going to need some triage coming through from Fate and level 1 Crook. We've been doing so much healing, we almost already have their ultimates, and that's very fast pace here. Fate's likely going to put out the Cosmic Yarn Amplifier the second that he gets it to relieve some of this pressure. Now it's ready, waiting for Phi to engage it. They can try and turn this around onto him after he goes to the commit. That's going to be the Ruby Rage, takes down level 1 Crook. And now Fate, do they have a resurrection available? It seems that Battle Recall Beacon not going to bring Fate back, but it won't really matter that level 1 Crook's not around because VP have already lost so many members.
And Sparker was playing so far forward because he had the safety of his bodyguard of Vincere, who can pop the diamond form and punish anyone who dives, which a lot of poke has been going into Jerky. And you don't have the fastball to easily gap close, so you can tell that VP are on the watch for that Wolverine, but VP still have to have perfect execution when it comes to this dive, especially if Phi is going to be on the flank.
Ruby Rage, good to go. Could be some extra damage as well off the back of the Gambit ultimate. You can try and just burst through Dredro here. You can break through the invisible boundary, as it is going to be a space claimed by Vincere. Going back in with the Ruby Rage. Saying farewell to Vincere. Saipe with yet another strategist ultimate to play with. But guess what? You've already lost out on 2 players. The invisible boundary, what can it really achieve? Jerky still in there, slashing away with the kinetic claws. Almost has himself a last stand to work with. Nevix has gone deep, but no one's here to join them. They simply crawl around on the walls, catch some damage, and get out of dodge.
Yeah, the god of mischief, but also too delayed to save Vincere. Mid-Psionic Seduction in a very vulnerable position as Na'Vi get proactive.
Freedom charge towards the back, and Terra's getting wild now. Farewell to the counterpart of Sparker, but Crook's been taken down on the other side. Guess what? Instant resurrection, though. That's right, why Rocket is constantly demanded in these matchups. Terra should be able to get away fairly easily, as trust me, make sure that everyone is cowering away to cover the escape of Scott Summers.
Yeah, you can't even play this from front to back if you're VP, because Terra is just going to take down all the shields, any Groot walls that could, if you thought about that composition. And the more Loki doppelgangers exist, the more Terra can distribute that damage. And VP barely standing. It'll be up to Nevix and a Feast of the Abyss to try to dwindle down these health pools.
Letting level out, trying to force out Fate's ultimate. Now it can be broken down by Sparker, but it seems that mostly it's just going to be Na'Vi going in on... Oh, they want so much violence, and Jerky is happy to provide. Farewell Drudro, farewell Sparker, farewell Time Bank. 20 seconds remain.
Oh no, they know. Fi has to run. You cannot afford to fall at this moment. And through the 3 ultimates that VP invested, not a single elim came through. And even then, you got the BRB from Fate. And you got the Raging Royal Flush, the Ace up Na'Vi sleeve as VP make their final push.
Oh, Saipei, so close to falling down. Drudro's going to be the one. Who can you even copy now when it comes to these strategist ultimates? Needs to find access to the back line, but Terra's in it before he can get there. VP have just been absolutely decimated. They've been torn limb from limb, and Na'Vi are just struggling. They're fighting for what remains of the scraps of the Virtus Pro roster. Yeah, Drudro's just rolling up, but what can he do? The Batsmobile is stolen away after only 73 meters.
At this point, I don't think there's anyone in the world that could outduel Terra at the moment. 13-1 is where he ended that first half. So Na'Vi now get to push, and the finish line is just about around the first corner. So I don't know if VP could even force 2 fights out of this, or if they would rather go for the more solid defensively favored one around that first corner. But then you only get 1 fight, depending on what kind of delays you can create, which there really hasn't been any delays from VP's side, because Terra is unlocked. And I could see that Finzi was debating on whether the Penny Parker should make an appearance, but I don't think it would last very long.
5 sitting on the ace right now. 2 final blows. 40% of the team's final blows overall. And honestly, I think that after this one, we're going to see a return to the first ban on the Gambit, because level 1 Crook has just been pumping out healing in the back and has found himself a pretty solid position where whenever you try to dive them, Jerky being able to play that Wolverine is feasting.
And Terra's on track to drop another 20 final hits, by the way, which again, like every map, it's gonna be that. Even without 1,000 damage boosts, he's still doing his thing. And he's so elusive too, how he's able to use the verticality. He's so undiveable, as VP will have an Angela on defense here. It's already getting marked by Na'Vi, who send Nevix away.
All right. If Na'Vi can do it, VP can do it. A fuller hold it needs to be. Otherwise, it's going to be match point for Na'Vi here and their first European stage title. Vincere already taken down. Jerky managed to claim that one. The kinetic claws continue to slash away. There's a little whirlwind to escape here from Fi. But while your pirouette might be pretty, the performance right now is not. Fi falling low. Drudro and Saipe need to get on the healing duty, as someone has to move over towards the point. And in this case, it's going to be Nevix trading out for Terra.
No, Terra did not get res by the Rocket, though, but Jerky's going for victim number 2, and oh my god, Na'Vi just pounce on VP like they are prey, and they can get this going again. VP have Finzi back in the picture. He already pops the diamond for it. That's a huge grab.
Sad chain CC noises. Out come the regeneration domains. Jerky just building up that rage. And where have your vanguards gone? Saipe brings up the invisible boundary to give a last chance here to VP, but they've lost so much of their meat and their potatoes. Nevix opens up the portal. This will allow some players to come on back. Drudro brings up the invisible boundary, but Saipe is too far away from it just now. Jerky managed to use Captain America's shield somehow to take down Saipe. He's got different techs. He's building a different game. He's playing with a different style. And so too are the remainder of Na'Vi. That style is dominance, and not an inch of mercy is in their hearts right now as they just bulldoze through the museum.
Oh, VP are looking like fossils out there. I mean, are now down 3 maps, and it's getting worse and worse. And Na'Vi, they just get better and better. Will this be the perfect playoff streak without dropping a map? We'll find out after the break.
A very dominant performance from Na'Vi, to say the least. But my question to you, Leg Day, is this a run from preseason into stage 1 if Na'Vi does complete the victory lap here more dominant than Virtus' pro undefeated streak last year?
I mean, what, Na'Vi are what, 22-1 right now when it comes to maps? I mean, even when VP were at their strongest in stage 2 of Ignite, they had a bunch of 3-2s against Chopped and Citadel. I think their grand final was a 4-2, and they had to come in from the lower bracket after losing to Citadel. So yeah, this is the most dominant we've ever seen a team in EMEA.
This is what we like to see, but we also see a very dominant player, which is part of the reason for that, the Canadian Texas Terra, as some people tend to call him here, Lemon.
Yeah, this guy's unstoppable. I probably can still count all of his casualties over the series on one hand. Pretty insane mechanically, but also he faced a Venom this time, and he did not swap to the Elsa, never felt that pressure, and if anything, he used the Optic Ascent to get away from the Venom and to jump into the other team to headshot strategists. Like, Terra's on another level, and Sparker is trying to keep up.
Looking at these stats specifically too, the average casualties I think is the biggest thing to note, as you were mentioning. 2.29 across the series so far, and the average damage per 10 minutes. We have seen some good looks from Sparker, of course, on the ultimates and everything that we've seen in terms of that first map, right? It felt like Sparker had the edge there, but the eliminations that have been coming out a little bit more one-sided. When we take a look at the stats specifically for that last map, it was just the Na'Vi show the entire way, Leg Day.
I mean, the big difference, right, is the casualties taken. And a lot of that, in these particular composition with the 2-2, comes down to Jerky. Playing the Wolverine here, 5 final hits, not much damage, but you know why it's not much damage? Jerky isn't really fighting. When it comes to like attacking most of VP, Jerky's sitting back in the peel position, just waiting for Vincere or Nevix to threaten Terra. The second they get there, it's a feral leap, bro. You go in a Vanguard jail, and it just means that attacking the backline of Na'Vi is essentially a no-go, no-sell. Jerky just going to put you in prison.
And that's the thing, you can't even touch these backliners because Fate has 2 dashes on the rocket. Even Crook is undivable. Like, Fi tried on the Daredevil. Even being able to see through walls, you had all the information, and it was still hard to lock it down. And Finzi trying to balance how aggressive you can really be as a, I guess, solo Vanguard while Nevix is diving on the Venom. Finzi had one really good diamond form grab onto Jerky, and that still didn't even cause a casualty onto Jerky. So all around, Na'Vi have low casualties because of Fate and Crook.
Great job supporting their team. That's why a lot of bans have been targeting them, and that's what I kind of want to talk about as we get the map reveal coming out soon for this one. Jen, I mean, what can they even do regardless of what the map is that they pick?
Yeah, they chose, I mean, VP chose the same 2 maps as they did in that last series, thinking, let's go to the same map, go to different ban lines, and whether it's banning the Mantis first, the Gambit first, it stayed the same. But also banning the Gambit first means now you have to go after the Rogue and other things, but Midtown will be where VP possibly could end this.
Just going to familiar territory for Virtus Pro, a couple different strategies that they can enact. And we saw Rad actually almost take them the distance 2-3 points. So everything on the line in the grand finals for the stage 1 playoffs. Will Virtus Pro bounce back, or is this going to complete the sweep and the most dominant performance from an EMEA team ever?
Midtown Lemon. I consider it the breaking case of dive gap kind of.
Yeah.
This is a much slower map. The second point, often we see teams held on very low ceilings, difficult to path for a fast dive team. And this could be an attempt to try and really mess with the overall pathing of Na'Vi.
And VP are 3-0 on this map when it comes to playoffs. Not something that they picked, just other teams have usually picked against them, even going the distance against Heretics. And that's how VP ended the series in their favor. But, you know, just barely by the skin of their teeth, which thankfully Lady Luck on their side is the first ban for VP this time after the Mantis, thinking that the Gambit matchup would favor them better.
Rogue taken away from both sides. Maybe VP are once again allowing the Gambit to go through despite losing a lot harder against the Gambit, because they don't want to see something like a Loki Mantis Groot happen defensively here for Na'Vi, knowing that that's one of the stronger compositions that is available to defend third. It's good to see Dredro smiling. Seems to still be high spirits for Virtus Pro. They know that they have the talent necessary for a reverse sweep.
And to ban the Daredevil from Jerky after what we saw from the Wolverine very strong on Midtown as well. Sometimes you go for bans to, well, force a certain matchup, but how about 2 bans against Jerky?
Well, to be fair, like, I don't know if this really impacts Jerky too much, at least defensively for Na'Vi. They would likely be playing something like a triple where Jerky would be playing an Ultron or perhaps perhaps something like a Loki or an Adam Warlock for that additional res. VP having access to Valuna, though, I think is pretty huge. And that means Na'Vi are like, okay, we can't allow Fire to be getting that additional healing, so we are going to be removing that Daredevil once again.
For the first time, too, so Fi could be forced to go to a second hit scan. He's been more picking that up like a Star-Lord, even taking the Cyclops away from Sparker so that he can play other things. That's been more of Fi's thing other than the Wolverine. So Na'Vi trying to change things up the same way. While as VP, if they are facing a triple strategist, having a flake on someone who could take an off angle and even go on a full flank, they can set up their cap, their Finzi for success, as VP will be attacking first. And Na'Vi don't really care for 3-3 shenanigans. Why would you ever put the GOAT off of duelists? So at least that's something you can mark off.
I mean, Jerky on the Psylocke here. Trust me, and Raj Robo being able to play dive vanguards. This is a composition that I would consider Na'Vi at full power right now. So VP are going to have their work cut out for them, but they are going to utilize the kinetic claws themselves with the powered up Wolverine, which might make Trust Me's dives a little bit more treacherous.
And even if this series seems unwinnable, there is so much to take away by, like, sometimes fully banning out one player and just seeing how deep their hero pool is and what weaknesses you can force, which VP have tried to identify that is Jerky. So this could be info for the mid-season finals. And extra health. That's already
that
popped.
Knockback from level 1 Crook midway through a flight is some crazy reaction time, by the way, to stop him in midair. Unbelievable stuff.
Yeah. You would think like an Invis would be self-sufficient like that, but Crook proves you just cannot dive him. I think he only had 3 casualties on Museum. Trust me's in trouble now this time.
Somewhat fumble for disengage. I think the swing went in the wrong direction, but manages to use the frenzied arrival to get out instead and feed over a bunch of that strategist ult charge. Vincey's finally managed to isolate Terra. You can be a lot more free to make these things work when you don't have to worry about that. Oh, what a dodge from Jerky. And the Psionic Slash just cuts through Dredro despite finding that early opening on Terra. Gets resurrected by the Rocket Raccoon, and the remainder of VP just fall apart.
Yeah, you want to be careful of how you try to run away from the Psylocke, because if you LOS your other strategists, then you can't patty cake your way through the pain. But hey, we get to see just how deep that and how efficient this hero pool is of Jerky, which so far, identifying Dredro, not getting frozen, so far so good. Nevix on the Angela, maybe shove some people off this high ground, maybe forcing out some cooldowns.
Nothing gained off the Assassin's Charge here from Nevix, playing a little bit of Vanguard versus Vanguard. The Namor. Interesting here from Fi. A little bit of desperation, but you know what? Something that Na'Vi haven't played against in a while might be a great pickup. Terra almost has access to the Ruby Rage. Jerky has been caught by Fi on the other side. The Wrath of the Seven Seas is not going to be enough to sustain Dredro. Caught on the off angle. Terra once again getting a little bit wild with it. Doesn't have an E-bounce to try and work with, so instead we'll settle for sight pay.
And also then want to go for the elimination. So, you know, Terra is just like not trying to ego challenge and make mistakes. You want to go for perfection. You want to get this done in 4. You don't need to stat pad. VP also getting caught in tiny rooms. This is not where an Angela or a Venom want to be, especially how Na'Vi can pounce on you at any mistake.
Oh, Raging Royal Flush expended for both here, and Jerky stops Dredro's roll straight away, utilizing the Dance of Butterflies. Doesn't even get a chance to use the Fate of Both Worlds, and Terra just follows Trust Me's lead into the abyss. Hell's Heart stabs at the Virtus Pro, and you are not going to be able to take it.
And unfortunately, you won't be able to pair it like the Raging Royal Flush with the Galactic Legend, which is maybe a strong win condition. But these days, people are staggering those ultimates to try and draw out strat ults from the other side, so you have more of a layered approach. But right now, it's VP having trouble developing those layers.
Freedom charge right towards the back. Nice knockback here from Terra. Creates some space to work with. As out comes the big ult from Fi to try and shut this one down. A lot of damage taken. Where are the heals? They're so far back. VP are just falling apart at the seams. They were not on the same page when it came to that engagement. Because with Yarn Amplifier now gone, but Nevix isn't getting any healing up at the front as well. We're still waiting for this Fate of Both Worlds. Surely not going to use it down a man. Might have to use the peel for themselves as Rajro continues to bounce away with a Sentinel Strike. Sparker down into main, a Propulsion Blast to blast themselves back as Trust Me moves into the back yet again with a Feast of the Abyss to play with.
Yeah, VP had to decide whether they wanted to fight through the Cosmic Yarn Amplifier, dismantle it, and pounce on Na'Vi, and Fi was not on the same page as everyone else, as VP have seen so little progress and almost a chance to punish Na'Vi here.
Where the enemy's at, though, the panic is real. The heart rate is rising. And the pressure of the finals being up match point is starting to break them down. Na'Vi deployed both of their Vanguard ultimates. Saipe's fallen down, even through the healing of Druidra with 10 seconds remaining. There are no cracks forming in Na'Vi's armor. Their Pantheon is so powerful. Whilst you may try to approach on Fi, Rajro's there on the other side. That might be America's captain, but it's EMEA's power player who brings it to an end. Level 1 Crook stands strong with the Raging Royal Flush. VP can't even touch. Herbie stalled before the corner, and Na'Vi are looking absolutely titanic.
And this has got to put the fear into the eyes of any team that could face Na'Vi in the mid-season finale coming up. Because when you look at this bracket, oh, a team that hasn't dropped the map, at least it's trending that direction. Okay. Oh, there's been 1,000 ban lines against them, and they still look dominant. Whether you first ban Mantis, first ban Gambit, you go after their Vanguards, you go after Jerky's whole hero pool. There's so many ideas and so many layers to Na'Vi that you simply cannot peel back unless you execute perfectly. And at this point, the wind is out of the sails of VP, and it's not been getting any cleaner, and they already have a spot at LAN, so we'll see what their last hurrah will be on defense as the finish line to this grand final sits halfway to the first objective.
The core of Na'Vi feeling such sweet schadenfreude right now. They were denied a world championship, a sparkling, glistening crown by Virtus.pro, 4-1, despite the heroics of Crisis to rescue it. But now they are the ones with their boot on the throat of the bear, ready to slay Virtus.pro.
And VP not going to opt for a rocket to bring somebody back. If someone makes a mistake, you're going for full counter, the damage boost from Fi, and Sparker's on the Elsa to deal with the Trust Me Venom that they've let slip by for the first time this series.
Mixed bag of a composition. The group to try and slow things down, but you know what? They're having to try and match that pace. Rajaro just out here ready to brawl. Finzi taking damage. It's just going to start to build up these strategist ultimates, which are going to be necessary to hold strong.
The full protection, the Strangling Prison could be big if you even get to build up to that point. So all eyes are on Sparker and how he deals with this. Already identified, trust me.
Looking towards the back. Cypher going to be the primary target, but Jerky's happy to just deal with Sparker for now. Still, this cart rolls on forward. Nevix caught on the low ground. Jerky has to disengage as Fi. It seems that VP have managed to find themselves a surround, but they can't really challenge Terra here.
Terra's to break down these root walls. Maybe he'll be a bit busy, but Finzi could be a victim. He escapes into the shadows, relieving now some of this cart pressure as Nevix finds himself alone.
Nevix brings up the wall, trying to peel a little bit away. Sparker finally hits the Monster Piercer, but still they believe it's winnable. Na'Vi say, we don't need our carry for now. We'll do it as 5. And they found themselves Streetro to open on up. Saipe needs to survive this. A disengagement going to be difficult. Sparker once again says, you need a hero. I will be the one who holds it down. Jerky the next to fall. Finzi in the back. Sparker back yet again. Finzi and Rajro traded out on the other side. And Terra's emerged on the blade of all people. It's going to be the Daywalker trying to make it work. The healing strong behind them. Saipe needs to release the ultimate here and now to have a counter strike as Terra falls down yet again. A Strangling Prison towards the back. They've grabbed in fake Terra. Trust me, Crook. They fall in unison as VP refuse to bow and kneel.
And Na'Vi, they are just meters away from being your champions. Done playing with their food. We're done with the blade. As VP have used some pretty important win conditions. The Apex Predator is still trying to find a lane, and they've been able to punish Trust Me on these dives, and he is still heading towards these strategists.
Many mods to play with, and now they're rolling forward. That's going to be chasing straight after the Cosmic Yarn after the Virus blown up so quickly by the Elsa. Sea Fate scampering on the wall, but who's going to survive the onslaught here? The Apex Predator going towards the back as Rajaro's keen to exchange the pressure with their own freedom charge here. Dredro answers, looking towards the back. It's a disengage for Rajaro. Can't quite sustain themselves, but Terra has themselves an angle and has themselves a Ruby Rage.
And even through the damage boost of Dredro, because they were all healed up, they didn't find any limbs. Na'Vi are so quick to disengage. They're like a swarm of wasps when they do want to fight. VP have no high ground. They have to be ironclad now.
Vincere strikes first level, on Krokov, a second side pays down, and so it has to be 5 for VP here. They have the ults to make it work, but do they have the will? No, it's Dredro in the back, all the heals are gone, and Natus Vincere, a name in Latin, born to win, is writ upon marble, and it's writ across the cosmos. They ascend the marble staircase, they climb up Mount Olympus, and Cypher tries to stop them directly in their tracks. Terra's taken down once, resurrected straight away by the battle recall beacon. Fire merges with the rage of Ultra. The rage will drive them forward. The dance of the butterflies is a dance macabre as Na'Vi have nothing but victory tangos in their hearts. VP are doing their best to grip on, but Dredro so far away from an ultimate. Cypher still has the daggers of Dinak, who's coming back with some healing. The answer's going to be no one. It's only Sparker with the Apex Predator, but at the top of the food chain, it's always been Na'Vi. It's never going to be dethroned. The championship is theirs, and so too is their first stage victory of the EMEA.
They will not be denied. You tried to scatter them. You tried to ban against them. There are no weaknesses to this team. They have not dropped a single game in playoffs. VP encountered them twice, even on the same maps. Even as every choice that VP had, there are no weaknesses in the Na'Vi map pool or the hero pool. This Na'Vi team is the one to beat at the mid-season finale. Vaudable, we've had a day. We have had a day. Absolute cinema.
Yeah, I mean, the most dominant performance I think we have seen in a single stage so far, even from Virtus Pro, as Legday was talking about that as I posed the question, saying that, oh, you know, how dominant is the stage 2 win that we saw from VP in comparison. A lot of maps still were dropped. They almost didn't even make it into those grand finals, one map away and like just a touch basically because of it. And now we see the other coin here, right? Na'Vi in the grand finals only took a single map against Virtus Pro. Well, in stage 1, Virtus Pro was on the other foot where they only took a single one in Central Park, and it's more of a mess around too with the full hold strategy in the group stage. So great turnaround for Na'Vi, picked up Terra, knew that that was going to be their key to victory, and that's exactly where they are sitting. The crown's on their head for now, but not world champions just yet. That's still reigning for Virtus Pro, and mid-season finals looming ahead. They're looking to dominate the rest of the competition. Americas, I think they've been put on notice with this one, Lemon.
Absolutely. And the other two representatives of mid-season finale, Rad and
VP, yeah.
Rad and VP, Na'Vi 3-0'd both of them. So
Just like...
it's gonna be a new patch, right? Maybe it's gonna be a different time. But Na'Vi have been ahead of the game, and let's see if Americas and the rest of the regions have done their homework on this team. I don't know what to take away from this series.
A reminder real quick too, before we get into the stats and the nitty gritty of the MVPs, which is obviously Terra for the most part, from that one. Again, make sure on July 7th you tune into the Dev Vision to figure out all the details about that mid-season final. We have all our teams decided. We just need the location and also everything else that can be announced for that. Definitely want to make sure you tune into that. But even then, I mean, talking about the series itself as a whole, I feel like we saw a little bit more life here, Leg Day, specifically out of the other side, but Terra was the one to just decimate their hopes and dreams throughout the series.
Yeah, just hit him with the MVP farm. It happens. Could we talk to someone with the blade graphic, please? Bro turns up on the blade towards the end. What in the world is going on? Saw that you could just like wail on Nevix in main. Unreal stuff. And then, of course, swapping back to the Cyclops at the end. Like, it was a fantastic performance. But honestly, like, the only way that you have a stage this perfect, 22-1, is if every single member of your squad is just the best in the world at what they do. And that's exactly what Na'Vi is.
That's what we wanted to see from them, right? They had some questionable pickups that people were wondering, oh, is Jerky going to be enough to stay on this roster where we had Naga actually doing a great job for them before? And well, I think they proved everyone wrong. The flexibility has been there since the preseason into this stage. I mean, swapping on over to the Psylocke, it doesn't matter if the Wolverine is banned, doesn't matter if the Daredevil is banned here as well. Everyone on this roster doing a great job, but I do still have to give the flowers to Jerky on that one, Levin.
Yeah, the flexibility, and Jerky got double banned, fully targeted. He brings out the Psylocke, which, you know, we've seen enough of it in playoffs, but is VP testing the waters? Is there anything? Can you make this beast bleed? And the answer has been no. From the Museum of Contemplation full hold, the Midtown full hold. And you wonder, I think at this point, Rad would be the best team in EMEA to try and dethrone Navi, if they even encounter each other, of course, just based on where Navi's peak, or where Rad's peak was yesterday. It's unfortunate we didn't get Lugia today, because would that have really changed anything? Would that have put Rad into the finals or not? That is the question, but there's so many unknowns going into mid-season finale, but one thing's for sure, Navi are unbeatable.
Best team supposedly in the world, as they would like to believe, and us EU casters or EMEA casters would love to say as well, but we gotta wait for that to be fully decided at that mid-season final, as we mentioned. And this is the best preparation that Navi could have asked for, right? Showcasing a dominant performance, but I kind of want to go into the nitty-gritty here. It felt like the Vanguard lineup, looking at these stats, really stepped up, and Rajaro here, leg day, has been having an MVP performance of his own if Terra wasn't on the team.
Yeah, 8 final hits. Like, Rajaro is like the silent attacker. He's like the IRL Venom of this team. Always able to do so much damage, work those margins, tax the heals. Jerky having a great show-off time as well on the Psylocke, showing, yo, I'm not just a triple strategist merchant who's here to boost Terra. I am my own duelist, and I have the power in my hands. 12 final hits certainly seems to suggest so as well. And honestly, like you said, Rajaro, probably one of the best in the world, if not the best in the world, when it comes to filling these gaps and doing a huge amount of damage from that Vanguard role.
I think one thing, Lemon, I do want to bring up here, Fate, we got to give credit where it is due. One-sided rocket, it was such an instrumental factor to the lethality that we see from Terra, using the Ruby Rage comboed with it, but also the rest of their team keeping sustained from it, also having the battle recall beacon to keep them alive in these fights, just having one get out of dodge free card, or get out of jail free card specifically. Yeah. So it's been great to see that.
Yeah, a solid gameplay. No matter what you ban against Navi, they have something. The Gambit, the Rocket, trust me, back on the Venom. You tried to double ban Jerky, he's on the Psylocke, and Navi's still full hold, so big congratulations to them.
Well, we have the whole team here to talk about their victory, being the champions of Stage 1 EMEA Ignite 2026. Congratulations to you all.
Hey!
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Can you guys hear us?
Yes,
Yeah,
we
we
can hear
can.
you.
Hello? Okay. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us? Are we good?
Of course.
Okay, good, good. How are you guys feeling, of course, from the victory, the most dominant performance we have seen in a single stage from an EMEA team?
I mean, we feel obviously great. I think every one of us agrees, no? Like, we won finally against... we finally get our revenge for losing in the grand finals against them. So it feels amazing.
Vengeance is great, and you guys are obviously incredibly talented, but can you guys tell me how much work goes into being such a perfect team?
There goes a lot of work in. We didn't scrim 4 blocks, but we scrimmed like 3 blocks. We had one review. Everyone was so focused on here, on being here. I mean, it's also why we got the fortune to be flown in at a boot camp. You know, be together, work together every day, and play together every day for perfect synergy and optimal conditions. So it was a really great time so far.
And the top 3 alongside you has been Rad and VP. Were you expecting VP to be your opponent today? And what do you think about the competition within your region and the rest?
I think VP is really good, but today they had like yesterday I think we played better than today, but we still like I think VP has some time to catch up right now, but I think they will bounce back. I forbid them to lose to any NA team, by the way. So I think I guarantee that if we play VP again, we need our revenge on world stage, like final, and they are forbidden to lose against any team because they are good players. Everyone is very passionate. Even in EU, in EU, an example, a lot of teams don't get funds as we do. We're fortunate enough to be at a bootcamp to get good salary, right? A lot of teams don't get that. Only the top 4 teams in EU, and everyone puts in so much effort. So competition-wise, there's like 4 really good teams and like 12 mediocre teams. But it's logical as well because there's a lot of funds, so much passion though in this
Mods,
scene.
write down Trust Me's command to not lose to any NA teams. Can you tell me about the koala? Is that a team mascot?
Bro, I don't know. Fate is just holding the
plushie?
koala. It started here. I thought Fate brought it, but apparently it is a mascot of Na'Vi. So right now it is a mascot of the bootcamp at least.
Oh, John
I
Champion.
don't want to repeat that. Do you have any question
That's
to
why
the
you
rest
have
of
the
us
microphone.
as a team?
Yeah, actually, if Tara wants to answer or anybody on his behalf, because Americas, when they get asked about which team they want to face, who they're looking forward to facing at midseason, they just say Tara. They don't say Na'Vi. It's always Tara. So, what's your response to that?
Oh yeah, Tara,
I did not hear.
Giving the mic. They're asking for your response on which team you would want to face in the NA.
No, I was called out by an individual. His name was Speedery. We'll be seeing him at LAN, and that's what's gonna happen. Me and Bobby are gonna face off on the big stage. And it's gonna be a cinema match, as people will say. So it's obviously TLC. It's gonna be us versus them. Everyone's gonna say it's like which teams are the best in the world, and it's always us two in the discussion. So we'll see them on the main stage in grand finals.
I got another question for you here, Tara, before we kind of turn it around to some of the other crew in the background as well. I had an interview with you before you fully got joined into the roster for Na'Vi, where you said you wanted to come to the region to try and go one-on-one with Sparker and see who's the best of the best. Do you feel now, after your victory here through Stage 1 and the preseason, that you are the best duelist in the world?
Wouldn't say that. I feel like there's no best in the world. It's a team game. One person cannot carry the whole team. It's a team environment. If one person plays bad, it's not the whole blame on them. It's the whole blame on the team. You go down with the ship, you win with the ship. That's how it is supposed to be. But we won one EU, one NA. All I have is yeah, I will. One EU, one NA, and now all I have to do is lift a trophy. That's basically it.
There you go.
Heck yeah. Can you pass me over to Jerky? I've got a question for your Flex God.
You gonna hop over?
Yeah, I'm gonna make him lean. I'm like that.
I've made it. Hello.
Hey Jerky, how's it going, boss? Like, obviously we highlight a lot of the Terra hero plays, but what goes into being one of the most flexible players on one of the most flexible teams in the world?
I mean, I think being a flex DPS is probably the hardest role, I would assume. I mean, it's just a lot of practice with the team. I think no player can do it all at once, right? Like, it just, as Trust Me said, 3 blocks a day, VOD reviews, spending times one-on-one with my coach to improve on each individual hero. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's just a lot of hard work.
Speaking of hard work, you had the mid-season finals ahead of you guys. The whole world is watching to figure out, what your thoughts are on the rest of the regions out there. But the floor is yours. If you have any words for your fans, for the opponents that are in the future, let them know.
Do we have any words for the opponents in the future or the fans? Do we want them to know anything? Yeah, I guess buy the Na'Vi bundle if you guys want to keep supporting us. And that's all. What? Oh, okay, wait, we're doing something. One moment. 3, 2, 1. Buy the Na'Vi bundle.
Oh, like that.
There you go. I don't know how much of that you got, but buy the Na'Vi bundle.
We got it.
Convinced.
Awesome. Thank
Sold.
you guys so much for joining us. Congratulations on your victory, and we'll see you at the mid-season finals.
See ya. Thanks for having us. Bye-bye.
Buy the
What a lovely
Navi
bunch of
bundle.
lads.
So
Yeah.
coordinated-ish. Not as coordinated as in-game, but they'll work on that.
3, 2, 1 dive. Perfect. 3, 2, 1 buy the Navi bundle. 2 scrim blocks straight away. Talk to coach.
It's like trying to coordinate with your teammates in ranked all the time. But here is one last look at the playoff bracket and how we got here with the undefeated run. 13 maps that we see across it to 0 from Navi, undefeated, the most dominant performance we've seen in a playoff bracket from any team. Even VP, as we were talking about before, still dropped maps along their way to victory. But we got to talk about the unsung heroes here, Lemon. Who would you say deserves a special shout out that we didn't quite see as much as we would have liked to from?
Yeah, shout out to Lugia. I hope he's doing okay. For Rad, I know that's got to be a heartbreaking day for them because
Yeah.
after yesterday, I really wish I changed my predictions because Rad were looking like a top 2 team after what they did to Heretics yesterday. I'm looking forward to see how they bounce back to in mid-season finale when everyone is up to par. But I think everyone on VP gave it their all, and you know maybe they're just hibernating for the mid-season finale. I think that's when everyone is going to hit their peak.
Leg day looking at this bracket as well. I mean, Heretics, I think, is the biggest question mark that we have going into stage 2. What do you think they really need to fix up so that they can lock in for the next time?
Maybe there's a world where Heretics don't get assassinated by the patch just before playoffs.
Yeah.
I think that might help a little bit, but Team Heretics, I don't think they require a rebuild. I think the talent on that roster is exceptional. Maybe they just require a little bit more time to reintegrate Ken into these calls. Maybe they just need to work on their ban drafts a little bit. I think the Team Heretics is one of our less flexible teams when it came to the ban draft. They didn't pay enough attention to the Wolverine. Like we saw that our final 2 teams here were being very, very like fluid when it came to how they were doing their drafts, and they were being rewarded for not like meta slaving in those.
30 HP was the difference between them making it and not. And unfortunately for Heretics, they'll have to sit out, but they are going to have plenty of time to prepare for those grand finals. A lot of delineating between each other on what to focus on in the ban draft maybe next time. But again, big shout out to all the teams who have participated across MRC, across the stages itself, but also make sure you take a look at the Dev Vision on July 7th. That's where more details about the mid-season finals will be revealed, and you got to make sure you tune into it. A lot of amazing announcements to come for this new season coming out, season 9. I mean, it's crazy that we've been here for such a long time in Marvel Rivals and Marvel Rivals esports in general. Any final thoughts from you, Jen, down the line before we close off stage 1 and get ready for the stage 1 playoffs for Americas?
I know Navi, we're excited to face TLC in that mid-season finals, and well, Americas is right around the corner. We've already been absolutely treated with cinema and entertainment today, and I'm looking forward to watching Americas soon.
How you
Same
feeling,
for
like
me. I'd
Same.
say thank you so much to all of our players for the unholy amounts of effort that you put in to put on such a good show, and thank you all so much for giving us your time to watch this. You're here on the ground floor during this year of Marvel Rivals Esports and seeing, well, you're at the best region, so you know that you're going to be here to see the world champions in the making.
Oh man, I do have to also give a nod to the teams that are going to be fighting through the promotion relegation mid-season qualifiers tournament coming up July 17th to the 19th. The chosen ones, Reason Gaming, Fire Strays, the Lions, and Alter Esports. We'll see them alongside some tough competition from MRC, trying to see who will be the 6 teams to rejoin us in stage 2 of the competition. Definitely keep an eye out for more details on that as well. But also, thank you to everyone for joining us throughout the preseason into stage 1. It's been a pleasure to be here alongside the likes of Moxie, Tetcher, and Ryan, who had to, enjoy their time off today as a much well-deserved rest. And we're going to be taking a bit of a break ourselves before we get into the action for Americas, figuring out if Team Liquid Citadel can also keep their undefeated streak coming up next. We'll see you in a couple of hours.